I remember in medical school they said, if you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras. In other words, if a patient is sick, think of a common ailment like a horse, and not a rare disease like a zebra. And the odds are in your favor that it's not a zebra. But what if all the different zebras taken together made up 10% of the herd?
I've known Paul since he joined the faculty many years ago. I became, over time, increasingly aware of his interest in integrating the health sciences with the performing arts. He called and he said, recently I read an article in the New York Times about a family dealing with a rare disease that had afflicted one of their children. And he said, I think this could become a play. We decided to take a form of the arts, performing arts, and reverse the process so we could share our story about the challenges of dealing with a rare disease to a broader audience in Minnesota and neighboring states.
It was a story that communicated something authentic about the experience of those who have rare disease. So we had that piece, but we also knew we wanted to include testimonials, the experience of those who were researchers, who were medical practitioners, people who had rare disease. Through the Center for Orphan Drug Research, they connected us with the amazing Rena Kartha, who teaches here.
Dr. Anali came, reached out and introduced us to the arts group and was talking about his work with Pharmacon and how they have tried to use art to convey a message about science. I thought, okay, I can help you get started.
The incredible Erica Barnes, whose daughter passed away from rare disease and became an advocate.
The play immediately really resonated with me, so Jim invited me to attend kind of a brainstorming session.
I had the great opportunity to write a play that combined the play Philoctetes, written by Sophocles a couple thousand years ago, with a modern day take that connected it with rare disease. It's so great to work on a personal level with doctors and people that I have a rare disease. And so that side of the field has always been mentors and guides and things that have helped me through having a rare disease.
Having a child with a rare disease diagnosis, and in her case, it's actually an ultra-rare disease, only a few hundred cases known worldwide. It becomes very bleak and hopeless very quickly.
My daughter Chloe was born in 2008. She eventually was diagnosed with an aggressive neurodegenerative disease called metachromatic leukodystrophy. So that set me on the path of advocacy. I started to meet other families that would tell me their story, and I would be struck with the similarities between my story and those stories, even though the diagnosis was completely different.
I don't think there's any greater impact than seeing someone else convey these concerns about, is my child going to live? How will we pay for these things? Where can we go to get help? This play examines those issues.
I give credit to Laverne and Sonia and Paul and everyone that, art is not supposed to be comfortable.
There is a scene in the play where one of the actors, Juliana, steps out of being one of the people in the play and presents herself as the mother who has a child with a rare disease.
My name is Juliana Draco, chorus number 3. I have a child with a rare disease, and this is her story.
And she talks about the journey she and her child and her husband have taken. And at one point, there's a reference to the screaming and the seizures and how terrified everyone was. You cannot listen to that without being very uncomfortable. But in an important way, it really drove home how really devastating these conditions can be.
There's research that shows that live theater boosts people's ability to feel empathy.
Things that you learn from the rare disease community, you could apply in other common diseases, including compassion and empathy.
When emotion and storytelling is the package in which you receive information, it sticks.
Maybe we can't find a treatment for my daughter yet. Maybe there's never going to be a cure, or maybe not in her lifetime. But what we can do is educate people about it. And if her story is powerful enough to move the needle for one person to feel inspired to take action, I think it was worth it.
Truly was an intersection. We got to have so many conversations from so many perspectives around this one. They all converged on this one project.
The arts go a long way in healing the divides of misunderstanding, the divides of prejudice.
If there is a story that art can tell, I think they connect in a different way than trying to teach somebody about science and genes and DNA and RNA.
One of my biggest delights I found out during this production was that there are practitioners, there are researchers, and there are organizations like Coder who dedicate, their careers to make the lives of rare disease patients better.
If you had told a doctor 15 years ago that had seen my daughter with her aggressive neurodegenerative disease that there was an opportunity to eradicate this disease and to cure her, they would have laughed at you 15 years ago. It was science fiction, the kind of innovations that we're making in medicine. I always say that this is how I parent Chloe. Can't take her to soccer games, I can't buy her a wedding dress, but I can parent her by helping other kids.
The sons of Asclepius have opened new worlds, methods of healing beyond our dreams, genome editing, enzyme replacement, orphan drugs. They're new forms of networking and communication, connections with other families.
Any little bit of hope you're clinging on to, and knowing that there's people out there who wake up every morning and they might not even be affected by rare disease, but they wake up every morning and go to work and try to find treatment and cure, that means a lot. And that gives us hope.
I have dreamed of this moment. To be heard and seen. The onus of hatred is lifted from me.
Philoctetes is finally led down the road of healing through a personal relationship. We aren't a series of symptoms. We are the whole thing. I have to say, I'm happily not the same person I was a year ago because of this project.